Welcome to part 5 of this lecture where we will have a look at what is a webhook, and also I restructured a little bit the topics to bring up HTTP request and response from one of the bottom lectures. So if you see this, we had this HTTP request and HTTP response. You need to understand what is that, and also a little bit more about what is a webhook, what's an API. So imagine if there is like one system sitting here. Let's call it system A. That system A can be Vapi in this case. If Vapi wants to talk to system B, the way that they can talk to each other is through a system called API, Application Programming Interface. And if I want to set something on system A based on an event, based on a certain circumstances that call needs to be triggered, that's when I use a webhook. It's the same thing, but it happens based on a hook, based on a certain circumstances. And what's that circumstance in our case? It's that intention of the user. When I say, can you search the internet? Can you find what is happening in Berlin? Can you search which swimming pools are open in Berlin, and so on and so forth. So that hook, that webhook from system A will call system B, but it's API. Basically, it's the API. And once that request happens, that HTTP, this is basically an HTTP request, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's basically that protocol or that method, that system that works on internet. So if I see this, you can see here HTTPS. What is that S? It's for secure, but basically that protocol that is being used is the same thing that we are using in this case. It is basically one HTTP request going from one system to another system, and then once this system is done, it will do a so-called HTTP response. So that HTTP request and response is basically happening in this case. Vapi is doing an HTTP request to n8n, n8n does some magic, and then it responds back to Vapi. And then Vapi takes it and then speaks back on the phone number. So what we are going to look at now is a very simple webhook. I think I broke some stuff here. So basically we will have a look at what is a webhook in this case. So I'm going to remove this chat window from here, and I'm going to add a webhook trigger. A webhook trigger has certain settings, which we'll come back to in just a minute. So if I quickly move this here and attach it to this AI agent that we have created earlier, you can see that this has the icon of a flash. That means it's a trigger. It can be triggered. And if I open it, change the HTTP method to post, that means it can receive certain data. There are other types. We can Google or ChatGPT and understand the differences. But in this particular case, we need post. What's the difference between test URL and production URL? Test URL is for checking this workflow here inside the editor. Once we're done, we'll copy this URL for our production ready workflow. So for now, I'm going to copy this and click on Listen for Testing. And now, basically, I can send some HTTP requests to this part. So I can go into this software called Postman and do some requests. So I can quickly create a new, my apologies, I clicked the wrong button there. So I can create a new, on this plus button, so that I can send a new so-called post request. If I do this post request, and I put something on this body in a raw format and JSON format. For now, just follow these instructions. Put these quotation marks, something like hello world. If I send this, you can see that a few things here. 200, that means it's successful, and that message that came back. So we send a post request to this URL. We change the body to raw to JSON. And it came back with an HTTP response. So basically what we did was we did an HTTP request from Postman, the software that I'm using as a developer tool. We send some data. This data will change. You will see it in a minute. And the response came back to us. This is basically the response part from n8n, and it said the workflow executed successfully. Now, if we go to our workflow in here, you will see that there was an output. And the output now contains exactly the same data that we sent from Postman. So what happened here was system A, in this case, was Postman. Postman sent something in HTTP request, which was just one piece of information, hello world. And system B was n8n workflow for us. And n8n workflow received it, and n8n workflow sent this so-called 200, like, hey, I'm good, I got executed. And also it sent back this piece of information, message workflow was started successfully. And Postman showed it back here. So why am I showing you all of this? The reason is because our system 1 and system 2 will change to Vapi. It will stay in n8n. This will be, instead of hello world, it would be something like what is happening in Berlin. And the response would be something like blah, blah, whatever that Perplexity sends us. And then Vapi will play it on the loudspeaker. That's what a webhook is. Basically, with a webhook, you can send requests to an n8n workflow from outside. So this is a very simple concept when you see it from here, but if you're a programmer and you want to build something like this, it takes a lot of time. And n8n is an awesome technology that simplifies this so much. With that, see you in the next lecture.